You ever see a man laugh in a courtroom just knowing he's about to win? That's how James Whittaker looked at me that day, his smirk bouncing off those marble walls like he already owned the future. My future, what was left of it anyway? His new woman, Chloe, sat next to him, red lipstick flashing like a warning sign as if to say, "You don't belong here, honey." I could hear his mind working. She's got nothing. She's finished. Well, yeah, that's what he thought. That's what the whole city thought. But sometimes when the world bets against you, that's exactly when you get dangerous. Our marriage, if you could even call it that, by the end was just a prop for James's real empire. Atlanta real estate, steel and glass and secrets piled a mile high. That night at Neon Pulse, the city's wildest club, he was the king strutting in that suit. Hands slapping backs his name on every tongue, champagne spraying under 1,000 lights. Me, I was supposed to stand beside him, smile, play the part. But the truth was, I was invisible, just a shadow in his spotlight, clinging to the last threads of a life I thought we built together. I remember slipping away from the crowd, heart pounding, all those old wounds flaring up, the moment that changed everything. Started with a stupid little text on James's phone, forgotten on a velvet couch in the VIP room, just a glow-in-the-dark one-sentence money's wired. Get rid of Lena before she finds out. You know that feeling like the bottom drops out and the air gets cold? That was me. I snapped a picture, shoved his phone back, and tried to breathe, but I already knew I was in more danger than I'd ever guessed. It wasn't just about cheating Chloe. God, Chloe caught me in there acting like a villain out of some soap opera. "You should know your place, Lena," she hissed. "And if you've ever been talked down to by someone who's taking your life, not just your man, you know exactly how sharp those words can cut." She walked out, and I stood there thinking about my little sister, Nia, lost to a car crash tied to one of James's shady deals years back. Was that really just an accident? Or had I just stumbled into the same trap? I didn't say a word that night, not even when James took the stage and gave Chloe all the credit for his new tower. My name wasn't mentioned. I was just the ghost in the background. But old Mrs. Ruth from my church, God bless her, caught my arm as I tried to slip out. "Don't let no man dim your light, child," she said, her hug almost making me cry right there in public. I drove home through Atlanta's neon veins, my mind racing. By the time I got to the penthouse, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going down like this. I signed up for the LSAT that night, law school, my dream, before I threw it all away for James. "I'm done being your shadow," I whispered, pressing send, watching that confirmation pop up. That was the first breath of real air I'd had in years. From then on, I was two people, James's perfect wife by day, fighting my way back to myself by night, hunched over practice tests, hoodie pulled low, fear mixing with fury. He barely noticed. When he was home, he'd just toss his keys, tell me to keep up appearances. He had no idea I was digging connecting dots between Nia's death and that text message, the way Chloe hovered around his every move. One day I found a note in his briefcase, meeting with C midnight. Keep it off the books. C for Chloe, or something worse, I didn't know, but it was enough to push me out the door and straight to Soul Brew, a coffee shop that always smelled like hope. My old college friend Malik, now an investigative reporter, sat waiting, his recorder hidden, but his eyes wide open. I told him everything. About the text, about Nia, about the gut-deep suspicion that James wasn't just cheating, he was cleaning up loose ends, and I was next. Malik slid me a USB heavy with bank records and names I didn't want to know. "You're in a snake pit," he warned. "If you're in, you're all in." I was. There was no way back. That Sunday, I found myself back in church, the choir's voices lifting me up, Ruth's hands wrapping mine. The fight wasn't just for me anymore. I started volunteering at a legal aid nonprofit, Sisters Rising, showing women how to file restraining orders, standing in for the Lena I'd almost lost. That's where I met Tasha, a mom running from an abusive ex. Her tears hit me harder than anything James ever said. I realized I was fighting for every woman who'd ever been told she was nothing. At home, the tension thickened. James's calls got shorter, his absences longer. Then I lost my job thanks to a tip from Chloe, no doubt, who waltzed into my bank in her red lipstick spinning lies to anyone who'd listen. It should have crushed me, but it just made me laugh sharp, defiant, the kind of laugh you get when you know you've already been through the worst. Moloch's files kept piling up wire transfers, mafia connections, a shadowy fixer named Mr. V who seemed to own half of James's fortune. Then another blow, the cops showed up, framed me for the murder of a real estate investor, planted evidence, fake confessions headlines calling me a black widow. They locked me up, Chloe grinning from across the glass during visiting hours, daring me to break. "You're nothing but a dead woman walking," she sneered, sliding a forged confession my way. I pushed it back, smiled right at her. "You're scared. You should be. Jail could have broken me, but instead it made me a preacher. I taught those women their rights, sang gospel under the flickering lights. My old law school friend Tanya snuck in messages connected with Moloch, who'd tracked Richard Hayes, the dead investor, all the way to Miami alive and hiding from James and the mafia. Malik nearly got killed getting that evidence, but he delivered. The day I was released, reporters mobbed the courthouse steps. Tanya, briefcase bulging, led me inside. James lounged across the aisle, still arrogant, Chloe's eyes darting. Tanya laid out the case, money laundering, mafia ties, the fake murder. Richard Hayes testified. Everything snapped. The judge ordered James cuffed right there. Chloe screaming as the deputies closed in. The courtroom erupted. Tanya handed over evidence that I'd built my own legal consultancy, Carter Justice Solutions, worth more than anything James ever gave me. I looked him right in the eye. "Always was, James. You just never asked." It should have ended there, right? Justice headlines, cheers from the women I'd helped. But the mafia doesn't fade with a gavel's bang. Mr. V sent threats. Malik hid out in safe houses. My fundraiser at Piedmont Park almost got bombed. But even as I watched my back, I kept moving, opening new offices, answering women's pleas from everywhere. The United Nations called, and I flew to Geneva, standing on that global stage, my voice echoing, "No one can dim our light." Still the scars linger. James broken in a cell whispers that I'm nothing. Chloe convicted writes threats from her lockup. But their world is ash. My world is just beginning. My sister's scholarship fund, burning bright, Malik's documentary, hitting Sundance women from all over, reaching out, finding their power. The city's gospel echoes in my soul. I climb to the rooftop, look out over Atlanta, turn Nipsey Hussle up loud, and whisper to the night, "You called me nothing, but I built an empire. I am the fire. And I will never, ever be dimmed." If you made it this far, I want to hear from you. What's your fire? What's your line between right and wrong, and how would you fight for it? Drop a comment. Share your truth. Let's keep this story burning. Stay fierce, stay shining, and never let anyone dim your light.